Hello, hi, welcome to the new video. Here we will be discussing about how the SAST really works. As a part of a SAST series, we are covering this. How exactly the SAST scanner architecture and what are the components and how those work. And all these components comes under the SAST scanner architecture process, and at the end we will see how the custom rules and one practical usage also. So without further ado, let's enter into the video and have a discussion. Now let us start by start with how SAST really works. It's just not what it does, but how it does. What is the underhood? At the high level, the SAST starts with your source code. Okay, the input will be the source code, bytecode, or binaries, and along with that there will be a configuration files. So from there it follows a pipeline. So here the first thing will come into picture. First it performs a tokenization, and you can also see the entire process here. This is the pipeline flow, you can say. First initially the source code, and then the secondly the tokenization, where it will breaks the code into a small units like keywords, variables, or symbols, and then it builds an abstract syntax tree, which is AST, to understand the structure of the code. Okay, and then as a fourth placeholder it performs a control flow and data flow analysis, where it will helps to trace how the code executes and how the data moves. And then the rule engine will come into picture, where as a fifth placeholder we can say, here the rule engine basically what it does was it applies a security rules to detect a vulnerabilities, and then finally the report. So it will generate a report with the findings, and it often maps the standards like OWASP, CWE scoring, like that. And let me take a pen. Yeah, that's what exactly here this particular flow defines. Okay, and that is what exactly here in this SAST analysis pipeline describes. And also one more point, even though the applications isn't running, the SAST can still uh, deeply analyzes the code and uncover the security flaws, and the results will be mapped in this like for standards like CWE, OWASP, these standards. Okay, and moving further, where we will be discussing uh, architecture of the SAST scanner. Okay, what exactly the components that make the scanner to work in the backend. Okay, so first of all there will be a one front end. Okay, that might be CLI, or if that application, that scanner has a UI and IDE plugins. Okay, so this is where exactly the what developer interacts with. Okay, so the CLI, UI, IDE, all this comes into that picture. Later the architecture. Okay, here also you can see whatever the components we are discussing here, the same thing you can see here also. Okay, first of all front end, later orchestrator. That means the orchestrator will come into picture. It is like a brain that schedules a scans and coordinates with the workflow. And then we have a scan engine, where we can say language specific analyzer. We have one for Java, one for Python, one for JavaScript, so and so, like whatever the programming languages we have. Okay, and then the rule engine will come into picture, where it applies the security rules to the code base. And then finally the data store, it will keeps the scan results history and feeds that into the dashboards or else reports, whatever the target reports need generating. Okay, here the SAST tools also be integrated into a CI/CD pipelines. Okay, and IDEs also with the help of plugins, and even the tools like Jira and Slack. Basically it will help to streamline the developers workflow and automate the security feedback. Okay, so that's where exactly this SAST scanner architecture looks like. Okay, and one moment. Yeah, moving to the next slide, where we will be discussing about how the parsing phase is done. Okay, so it is like a fundamental to how the SAST understand the code. First, the tool parses the tokenization, like whatever the things we have discussed earlier. First of all, the tokenization will be happen. Okay, so it performs, I mean, the tool performs, the scanner, we can say, basically performs the tokenization. That means it breaks down the code into a tokens, like some keywords, identifiers, or operators, and literals also. Okay, then it uses these tokens to build an abstract syntax tree. Okay, so parsing is done here with the help of, I mean, it builds a AST based on the like grammar of the programming language, we can say. Okay, and then the AST, I mean, this particular AST represents a tree like structure that contains a code logic. Let's say, for example, that may have a functions, classes, conditions, loops, expressions. Okay, so this particular tree view of the code is, I mean, it will basically enables the deeper analysis, like what is the control flow, how the data flow is happening, and uh, semantics, how it was happening. Okay, so that is how exactly, I mean, it is one of the example how the tree structure looks like, and what exactly that abstract syntax tree contains. Okay, and now let us move further and discuss about how the data flow, control flow, and semantics, that means taint analysis is done. Okay, once the AST is built, abstract syntax tree is built, the tool performs the control flow and data flow analysis. Okay, here the control flow will come into picture. Basically, the control flow graph, CFG, we can say, it will shows how the program moves through a branches, loops, and conditions. Okay, and then the data flow analysis, it will tracks how the values move between the variables, parameters, and return the statements. Okay, that is exactly the control flow graph and data flow analysis. Then the trained analysis, that means then the trained analysis semantics, we can say, uh, comes into a picture, which is very much crucial for detecting injection vulnerabilities. And you can say it works in this way, where the it identifies the source code, and I mean source code, sorry, not sources, basically it is a sources. Okay, so it is a places where untrusted input and, I mean, enters. Okay, and then it checks for the input, that means whether it sanitized or is it validated. Okay, and finally it traces whether that particular input reaches a sync, like a SQL query or any system command. Okay, that is exactly the like taint analysis. Okay, and here you can see the taint analysis flow, how exactly it was, like whatever the things we have discussed here, same source, user input, and then sanitizer, which is validation, and then sync, which is SQL query. Okay, so here if you understand the input flows directly to a sync without any validation, so that's a big red flag. So here, which is unsafe, no sanitization is there. And so here the taint analysis will helps to answer this particular question: is that input is safe before it's used in a any sensitive operation. Okay, so that's where the sanitizer is come into picture, and this is very much crucial part. Okay, and that is exactly the point here also mentioned. Checks if tainted data is validated and sanitized before they reaching into a sync. Okay, and moving further, where we will be discussing about rule engine and rule types. Okay, so it is like a heart of the vulnerability I mean heart for vulnerability detection, and these particular rules define what the patterns or the flows are considered like dangerous. And there are different types of these rules. uh, One is pattern rules. It is like banning the use of uh, eval functions. Okay, and there is a one more type, which is API usage rules. uh, that means detecting insecure cryptographic algorithms, and then trained rules. Okay, trained or data flow rules, we can say. Let's say, for example, a tracing user input that reaches a SQL query, okay, without any sanitization, how we see in earlier example trained. Okay, and there is a like one more like type, which is configuration rules. It is like flagging when a debug mode is enabled in production. Okay, so this each rule includes a metadata uh, that having a severity, what is the severity level, and CWE OWASP tag, a description of that, and remediation guidelines for that vulnerability. Okay, so most of the tools come with a default rule sets, but you can also define a custom rule sets to tailor your organization needs, like based upon the use case, we can say. Okay, and here is the how exactly the rule type and example. Okay, so the pattern rule, which is this, and API usage rule, it detects the insecure cryptographic algorithm. Taint rule and configuration rule, like whatever the things we have discussed here, that was kept into a table. Okay, and moving further, where we will be discussing about a custom rules, and one of the simple practical uses also. Okay, so it is one of the most powerful feature for the modern SAST tools. Uh, First of all, let us see why to create a custom rules. Okay, so basically, you might have some internal frameworks, or some banned APIs, or some company specific security policies or configurations. So that aren't covered by default rules if you directly apply the default rules. So that is why exactly the custom rules come into picture. Okay, let's say, for example, imagine your team uses a helper function which is called run raw SQL function. Okay, so you can write a custom rule to flag any untrusted input passed in the particular function. Okay, to this particular function. So here is a simple uh, rule where that goes exactly uh, I mean what exactly it does. Okay, so let me explain that in a simple way. Okay, like whatever the YAML script below you are saying, it is not syntaxed properly. Okay, I will describe where exactly it was. Okay, it will starts with this was a command example Semgrep YAML rule. This was a first line, okay, rules, and then it was a second line ID. For that we are going to specify unsafe internal SQL. Okay, and then we are going to define a pattern in the next line, which is this. Okay, run raw SQL, whatever the pattern, and then input we need to pass, and then whatever the message, that will be a next line, and the message is untrusted input to a run raw SQL function, and then next line, which is severity, it says error. Okay, and then the language, which is JavaScript. So here the typical workflow will be, if you see the workflow, it starts with a vendors or else OWASP rule set, like default rule sets, we can say, and then it add or tune the custom rules. Okay, so use them to reduce the false positives or to enforce your own security policies. Okay, and I mean basically the modern tools make this easier with domain specific languages, DSLs, or GUIs. Okay, and Semgrep, like YAML based rules. Okay, and yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to discuss, and you can build your security policy, which is default rule set plus custom rule set. Your security policy will be achieved. Okay, so this is how exactly you can apply a custom rule set for your SAST scan. Okay, and yeah, I think so you got certain inputs out of this particular video, and you got understood how exactly the SAST scanner works and how the architecture looks like. Okay, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much for watching the video.